Recording in progress.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to yet another awesome session of Mindful Living. We really appreciate your taking out the time and joining the session today. It's a weekend, and you could have been there anywhere doing anything that you like, but you're taking out the time and joining the session today is a clear demonstration of your intention to take your life to a new level in 2023. And friends, I promise you that this investment of time in learning on how to take your life to a new level will definitely be worth its while. All these sessions of mindful living are guaranteed to improve your quality of life. Our session today is the third one in this year. We kicked off the year 2023 with a mindful meditation session. Our next on that was at 9 a.m. on 1st of January. Our second session on the same day was about leadership gems from Bhagavad Gita. In case you missed attending these sessions and would like to watch their recording, you can click on the YouTube link and watch these sessions there. Our third session today is in the same series, which is designed to awaken you to your superpower that will help you take your life to a new level. Please type yes if any of these statements resonate with you. The more number of times you type yes, the better it is. Would you like to get promoted in 2023? Yes, thank you, Dr. Soumya. Let us see who else would like to get promoted in 2023. Would you like to earn more in 2023? Friends, please keep typing. Let's see, fastest finger first. Would you like to be healthier in 2023? The more number of times you type yes, the more your brain gets a message that you want more of this. Would you like to be happier in 2023? Please type yes. Thank you, friends, for your enthusiastic response. Please let your responses keep coming in. Would you like to have better relationships with your spouse, with your children, siblings, parents, boss, colleagues, clients? If you would like to have better relationships in 2023, please type yes. Friends, thank you for your enthusiastic response. My teacher used to say, Ashish, there is only one thing which keeps us from getting what we want. There is only one thing which will help us get from where we are to where we want to go. Friends, any guesses on what that one thing is? You can unmute and speak, or you can type in the chat. What is one thing which will help us get what we want in our life, which will help us get from where we are to where we want to go?
Ashish.
Yes, Ravi.
Good evening. I think we have to allow ourselves. That is what it is required.
Yes, mindset, action, allow ourselves. Thank you, friends. All of desire, very nice, very nice. Yeah, the desire and action, we can take action. Of course, that is very important. Manojji very well said, thought and action. My teacher said that it is the knowledge of the roadmap, from which will take us from where we are to where we want to go. Only when we have the knowledge of what is the roadmap can we walk on that path. If we don't have the knowledge, even the actions may not be fruitful. So that is why we have organized the session today, which is about unleashing the power of subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind, friends, is immensely powerful. How much more powerful? 1,000,000 times more powerful. Our subconscious mind is 1,000,000 times more powerful than our conscious mind. Our conscious mind can process 40 bits of data per second, whereas our subconscious mind can process up to 40 million bits of data from the environment. Through the years of my working and teaching as mindfulness teacher, I realized that it is extremely important for us to be aware of what is going on in our mind, conscious mind and subconscious mind. Both are very important, and it is also extremely important that they are aligned to be for us to be able to get the results that we want in our life. And that is why we invited Dr. Nupur Agarwal, one of the most popular teachers on the Mindful Living platform. Most of you are familiar with her, but for those of you who are attending her session for the first time, Dr. Nupur Agarwal lives in London in UK, and she has been working at a NHS hospital for last 5 years, offering her services to the cancer patients. Her work has been path-breaking, and it has been published and also won awards. She's a certified meditation teacher, specializing in techniques like medical hypnosis for subconscious mind reprogramming. By qualification, she's a dentist who has done her BDS and MDS, where she passed with laurels with a gold medal. She's a Reiki master and also offers one-to-one coaching and group workshops on mind-body healing. Dr. Nupur, welcome to the session.
Thank you, Ashish, and thank you to everybody. It's lovely to be back at Mindful Living, always an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Friends, many of you are joining our session for the first time. If you're joining a Mindful Living session for the first time, please type FT in the chat box. Thank you, Dr. Soumya. Thank you, Varun. Friends, thank you, Priyanka. For the benefit of those who are joining the session for the first time, let me take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. I started Mindful Living in 2018. Prior to that, I worked in the corporate sector in senior management roles for over 25 years with organizations like Xerox, Tata AIG, Future Generali, Marsh, HCL Healthcare, and Healthcare at Home. During the years of my working in the corporate sector, I saw how stressed the employees in the corporate sector are and how this stress is taking a toll on their health, happiness, and well-being. Being a certified mindfulness teacher, I thought to myself, the message of living consciously needs to be taken to the corporate world. And with that mission of impacting the lives of 1 million working professionals, I started Mindful Living in 2018. Over the last 5 years, we have conducted over 300 sessions, which have been attended by more than 10,000 employees from leading organizations from India, which include Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, IBM, EXL, Signify, Schneider, Airbnb, Tata Life, Tata Group, SDFC Life, Kotak Life, and many more. The session today is being organized as a part of the Mindful Living community, which started at the onset of COVID in April 2020. Few of my friends requested me to conduct a mindfulness session for them over a weekend. I did that. One thing led to the other, and that small group of friends today has grown to be a large community of over 3,000 people, which connects every weekend to learn about practicing mindful living. This is a very safe community, and we invite you with an open heart to join our community in case you would like to stay connected with us and learn about practicing mindfulness. We don't have any political or religious agenda. We don't encourage messages with political and religious overtones in our community, and everybody respects each other. So this is a very safe place for people to learn and share about living consciously. So we are sharing the link in the chat. Please click on the link if the work that we do resonates with you, and we invite you to join us. Please use the reactions button in the Zoom toolbar to stay engaged through the session. Clap, show thumbs up, show love as Dr. Nupur shares, about the session today. We will have question answer towards the end of the session, but please stay engaged on the chat during the session. On that note, Dr. Nupur, I would like to invite you to share about unleashing the power of our subconscious mind.
Dr. Nupur, happy morning.
Happy
and
morning
wonderful
to you.
New Year. And wonderful
to
New
you.
Year.
And to you and to everybody on the chat. A very warm welcome and a very happy new year. Lovely to have so many of you here on a weekend, that to the first weekend of January, 2nd actually. But it's commendable that, there is a fire in all of us to learn at whatever stage in our lives we are. My intention would be to share with you all that I have experienced in my working life here in the last 7 years. And also to share with you that the secret of our growth, of our evolution, actually that lies within us. And that has been one of the key learning aspects for me in this journey. So I would love to share everything I can with you. And I want you to look at this picture and just spend some time contemplating what it means for you. I'm just going to go back and reshare. This is a very fascinating picture that I found when I was researching for our webinar today. It shows the parts of our brain, and then it shows another image, which is almost like a matrix image, right? And that's exactly what I want us to understand today, that there is something which we come from who we are right now, from our position at this point in our lives. And the blueprint, or in the matrix that you see as the image in the center, is that version of ourselves that we aspire, no matter how old or how young we are. There is always a scope of enhancing, improving, and living a life of joy and abundance, right? And this is exactly what this picture represents. And that's what I thought, it'll be lovely to get everybody thinking about what is it that they wish to create in their lives. How do they want to upgrade, reboot, as we have said in the flyer? How is it that I want to do it? And this is exactly the question that I asked myself when I was starting, as Ashish said, that I come from a clinical background. I specialized in oral medicine and radiology. I've worked a lot with oral cancer patients. And I realized very early on in my life, in my journey, that yes, medicine is important. Yes, surgery is important, but there is another aspect of healing that is really important. And that is what led me to understand how some people with the same diagnosis, same prognosis, respond very differently to treatment than others. There was something about an inner quality and a desire and a fire in them to get better. They were ready to go that extra mile to unleash that healing ability in them. They were also something that I realized was the power of belief, that the patients who felt that they are going to make it are the ones who would definitely make it and improve and really feel healthier, much faster. And that's what all led me to understand that there is a force inside us. In common parlance, they would say that it's your attitude, right? And as I started digging deeper and I started researching this, and synchronicity started to happen with my patients, and they were my best and the first teachers. And I'm very grateful for the experiences that I had, that led me to realize that there is a power inside us, which is our own mind, the untapped potential of our unconscious or our subconscious mind. And that is a space which I started to explore deeper to understand how can we access that? What is that? I read a lot of literature, scientific research, and we are very fortunate to be living in times where we have such robust research that validates and proves to us today that yes, we are living from a very constricted conscious mind, and there is a much more deeper space inside us, which is the unconscious mind, which we can tap through meditation and through other practices and actually create powerful positive impact. And I decided to train in this. I was already a specialist trained in certain areas of the body, but now I started to dabble in the mind-body medicine space. And it led me to understand mindfulness. I trained to become a mindfulness teacher. Mindfulness is that part of our lives which tells us consciously how can we impact. And then I started to train in something called clinical hypnotherapy. I did a medical diploma in clinical hypnotherapy, and I was in London. I started on my mind-body medicine journey here. And I decided to take this by inspiration of my teachers, like, I'll mention them as we go along in the discussion today, that, this has the power to heal and accelerate healing. And accelerate healing with a lot of positive benefits to the patients in terms of quality of their lives, in terms of developing their resilience, in terms of developing a mindset which is pro-healing rather than a fear-based mindset. And I took my CV to the hospitals here. And it wasn't very easy for somebody who was saying that I'm going to work in the mind-body medicine space, allow me to. But I think through conviction and through using those tools and techniques on my own self, I was able to get through to a hospital. And I started working in the Department of Head and Neck Cancer and started using these mind-body medicine techniques. As a result of that, I want to share with you, this is not something that was very easy or common, 5 years back, 7 years back when I just started, that the pilot that I conducted was actually received very well, and it was published. And this is something which I want you to understand, that the things that we are going to be sharing today are very evidence-based. I have researched them. I've seen how people have grown through this space. And this is one of the abstracts of this pilot research was published in the European Journal of Surgical Oncology, where the work that we did in the head and neck cancer patients to improve their quality of life using clinical hypnotherapy was published. I also presented this research in an international conference in London. And this is to understand that a lot of times people think that mind-body medicine, hypnotherapy, mindfulness, energy medicine is all woo-woo. It's all airy-fairy stuff. Now here, I'm here to tell you that no, it's not airy-fairy. This is something that you can really learn, understand, to create a very positive impact in your life. And another one of my case studies, so obviously it gave me an opportunity to work with so many patients over the last 5 years. One of the case studies that we managed to publish out, and it was something that I want to share with you, is a case study of a patient receiving both clinical hypnotherapy and mindfulness for a person who was severely needle phobic, right? And this person needed bone marrow biopsy. And how they overcame, if you can see this graph, yes, this is not a very clear picture, but just to give you a sense that these were the parameters that were so high for this patient, the pain, the anxiety, the fear. And this is how much they came down to in subsequent sessions. So, in life, we do realize that some of us are needle phobic, some of us are claustrophobic, some of us have fear of heights, some of us have fear of flying, some of us have fear of performance at work, public speaking. And all of these fears and phobias are keeping us very trapped. They are preventing us from living a life of our highest potential. Now, this patient, if she had refused this treatment, if she had refused the bone marrow biopsy, which actually she did, then they would have had to take her off this trial, and she would not get better. So do you understand here that this is the impact when we say that our phobias can really hold us back? Anesthesia, giving her general anesthesia was not an option. That's why we had to do something so that she could still receive the treatment and not be so phobic of the needles. And that's exactly what we managed to achieve here. The idea being, understand that we all come from certain past programming, right? We all come from our past where certain fears get trapped in our subconscious. I will talk about this in a bit, but first we all need to understand what is the subconscious mind. In common parlance, a lot of times you'll hear the words unconscious and subconscious interchangeable, right? Some people prefer in some literatures it is mentioned to as unconscious, and some it is mentioned as subconscious. Both are absolutely right. In this discussion, I'm going to be using the word subconscious merely for the purpose of our understanding. Sub means below, right? Epi means above and sub means below. Now, if you look at this picture, it's an iceberg. An iceberg typically has only a little part of it which is exposed to the human eye. We can only see this part which is above the waters, right? And there is a huge part of the iceberg which is submerged that is not easily seen by the human eye. This is exactly what happens in our mind. We have a portion of our mind which is the unconscious or subconscious, and that is that submerged part of our psyche that we are operating from 95% of the time, right? Only 5 to 10% of the time we are operating from this part of our mind, which is called the obvious mind, the conscious mind. The conscious mind is what you are using right now. You're listening to me. It's the seat of critical evaluation. It is the seat of understanding, of debating, discussing. It's also a point where you can make effort. Free will resides in the conscious mind. You want to, but that is, imagine, only 5 to 10%. And this is very, very hard based in research. So everything that I'm going to be talking about today is something you can go and find research articles on. If anybody wants to know more, they're very welcome to reach out to me. I'm going to share some names towards the end of our webinar. They're the people, they're the pioneers they've been also, some of them are my teachers, of understanding our subconscious and unconscious mind. So everything is very science and research based in our discussion today. Understanding that the submerged part of our psyche, the subconscious or the unconscious, is actually what is running our programs. And this is not something that becomes very obvious to us unless we understand this, unless we realize what's going on. All they say, for the first 7 years of a child's life, a child is like a sponge that absorbs water. Imagine typically a sponge. Once it's put in water, it just absorbs, right? That's the nature of a sponge. That's who we are for the first 7 years. We are downloading and we're absorbing information from our family, from our surroundings, and we don't have any filters. The mind of a child has no filter. The subconscious mind has no filters. It downloads without question, without doubting, whatever it's told to us. So if a child is said that you're stupid, you can never be as good as your sibling, or you are very lazy and you will never make it in life. Now, if this are the kind of messages that the subconscious mind receives, that becomes the programming for that person. And the key thing is that even though the first 7 years we are freely downloading everything in our subconscious mind, it doesn't end with 7 years. Every experience that you have had in your teenage years, in your adult years, even till date, has been recorded. It's like the hard drive of a computer. You just download things. Your subconscious is so active. In fact, they say that it is operating in terms of data at almost 40 million bits, and our conscious mind is only operating at the level of 40 bits. So this is something that Dr. Bruce Lipton has shared with us. Dr. Bruce Lipton has been one of the key researchers who talks about, in his book, Biology of Belief, all that I'm discussing with you today. So if you wish to, you can always look that up. So you have to understand the magnitude of your subconscious mind. It is freely downloading. And the biggest important thing is it is informing your behavior, right? It is informing what choices you make. Sometimes you're very quick to say, oh, this is the person I am. I don't know why. That is because of the programming of your subconscious mind, right? Just to give you a small example of, sometimes if you remember that a fragrance or a smell reminds you of some incident. Like typically when we visit our homes where we have our grandmothers or mothers, right? And they make something which has got a beautiful aroma and it's one of your favorite dishes. You sometimes think, oh, it takes me back to my childhood. I remember grandma used to make it like this. I remember when I was 7 years old, the smell came from my mom's kitchen. Now this tracing back in memory is all subconscious mind. It has the ability to trigger back memories because it is a database. We have archives of information trapped in our subconscious mind, right? And sometimes we also become a person that we are because of the patterns and the habits. It's the wired beliefs and habits that create our personality types. And this is why subconscious mind is a very, very key player in your successes and in also our failures. And that's what I'm going to be discussing with you today. Brain waves. Now, what we have started to understand was that as the science was emerging and as we became more sophisticated with our equipments in medical fraternity to record various things, you all know ECG, heart waves get recorded, also EEG, where brain waves get recorded. And from those brain waves also, it became very clear to us that when we are in a certain state where the conscious mind is engaged, we are using something called the beta waves, right? Beta waves, which are the walking, conscious reasoning. Like right now, most of us are in the beta wave when we are thinking, analyzing, listening. And as we start to slow down, as we start to relax, like sometimes when we do, some of us could be yoga practitioners, when we do the, the corpse pose or shavasana, you're slowing down, right? Or after a long days of work, when you're just sitting on your couch and relaxing, slowly you're going into an alpha state. Now we have this evidence that is telling us even our brain has different waves at which it operates. And the slower the brain waves become, the more calmer and more relaxed we are entering into our subconscious mind. We are entering into alpha, theta, delta waves, which are more conducive for our subconscious mind. It activates, it triggers the activity of a subconscious mind. Now, this is really important for us to understand because if we want to, how do we create change? If you want to create some change, we have to understand that it will not happen at the level of conscious mind. Just to give you all an example, like I was working with this client of mine who was a chain smoker, right? And he was a chain smoker he was in his 40, he was 40, 47, 45, 47. For the last 20 years, he was a chain smoker. And at this point in life, he realized that for his health and for his family life, it is important for him to quit. And he's known that for the last 10 years, but he couldn't do anything about it. Now, if you ask me, if you ask yourself, consciously he knows he wants to lose. He wants to lose this habit. He wants to get healthier. He wants to have a better quality of his life and family. Cigarette was a big point of point of contention between him and his wife. And it was almost coming to a breaking point for many years, right? It was a difficult topic. Consciously, he wants to quit. But now we know the conscious mind is only 5 to 10%. If he could quit, he would have quit because consciously he knew everything. Very intelligent guy. He could have, but he wasn't able to. Why? Because the subconscious was a habitual pattern. And just by the power of willpower, he wasn't able to quit. There is a lot of evidence that shows that maybe 1 to 2% of people can exercise willpower to achieve things. Rest of us have to change our programming, our habits, our beliefs about ourselves from the subconscious level. It's only after he started doing sessions to reprogram his subconscious mind, I kid you not, in 4 sessions, he got over chain smoking and he went to no cigarettes in just 5 sessions. By the end of 4 sessions, 5th was a stabilization session for him. He had already quit by 4 sessions. Now that is the power that we have to change our habits and to go out of our fears and phobias. All of this happens when we are able to access deeper restful states. it's also, I'm very mindful that I don't want to get too much into science and too much into mind and body technicalities, because I understand not all of us are from that space. But I am just trying to give you some things which are very, very pertinent for us, right, today. That is about our health-based practices. What about our limiting beliefs? What about our limiting beliefs that are holding us back? That is exactly where most of us get into deleterious habits, like alcohol, like drug abuse, like smoking, stress management. All of that stems from our limiting beliefs. In my practice, I realized that one of the key things which our subconscious holds is our limiting beliefs, because they are so deeply entrenched and ingrained in our psyche, in our unconscious, that we don't even realize we are operating from our limiting beliefs. And these are creating our reality, because what we are performing every day is not from a conscious mind. Now we know it's only 5 to 10%. It's coming from a subconscious. So you may want that promotion, you may want to get that better job or a better pay package, but inherently, if you're believing, I am not enough, I am not good enough, right? That is what is creating a reality. I'm just going to go back to this last slide. Your current reality is the result of your beliefs and your perceptions. And my friends, our beliefs and our perceptions have been something that we have been recording from the time we were born, and in fact, from intrauterine, right? Intrauterine means from the time we were in the womb. Now, some of us have listened to stories, or, where we have heard that in our mythological stories that, in womb, people were listening to stories, and in a lot of our mythology, we have heard that. And we were very dismissive of that, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. But now we have actually got information and data telling us that from as early as in our womb, and not just that, even our past lives has data and record of our subconscious mind, right? So one of the books that I will highly recommend is from one of my teachers, Dr. Brian Weiss, who has written this book called Many Lives, Many Masters. And he's a psychiatrist. He's a hardcore clinical psychiatrist who talks about the case history of one of his patients who, in one of these sessions of reprogramming the subconscious, slipped into past lives and started discussing the accounts. Why am I talking about this? Because we don't realize that our current life challenges have roots in our subconscious by the beliefs that we have downloaded. And these beliefs are not always our own beliefs. There could be the beliefs of the people we grew up with, our parents, our teachers, our society, the collective unconsciousness, as Carl Jung puts it, right? I am not good enough. I am not worthy. Life is not kind to me. I can never be that. Now, this is not a list of, so this is a very, very concise list of some of the limiting beliefs that I have most commonly encountered in my work, in my clients, in my patients. If a person now, like I'll just give you an example of, I worked with a CFO, Chief Finance Officer of a company, and she had something what we call the imposter syndrome. Now, imposter syndrome is a self-sabotaging behavior. Imposter syndrome means that I don't deserve to be where I am. I don't deserve, though she was the CFO, though she was academically, experientially, she had all the ticks, and she had moved up the ladder through sheer deserving talent of hers and through years of experience. But she always walked up with the feeling so heavy, as if she was dragging down by heavy chains around her, and always feeling like an imposter, like she didn't deserve it. Because she always, when we were starting to discuss, her self-sabotaging behavior comes down from this limiting belief, I am not worthy, I am not good enough. Now, if these are the kind of limiting beliefs that we are harboring in our subconscious, we are never going to feel we deserve anything. We are going to delay our success. Even though she should have become a CFO 5 years back, it took her so much longer, so much more effort. And even when she became the CFO, she wasn't happy because there was a sense of lack in her. And that energy of lack was coming down from her limiting beliefs, which were apparently inherited from her childhood years. And it becomes a vicious cycle. You have a limiting belief in your subconscious, you get an action, you get a result matching that. You start to fail, you start to underperform. And the more you start to underperform, you're not feeling that you're achieving good results, it will again inform your subconscious you're not good enough. It reinforces the message. So it becomes like a very deeply entrenched vicious cycle in us, that I am not good enough, I'm not worthy. Now, this is a lady who is the chief finance officer of a multinational company. And it's taken her 57 years of her life to reach out for help. But it's better late than never, right? And that's when we started working at the level of reprogramming her subconscious mind, uprooting these beliefs. And then, if now we are working with computers, we know that we have something called a software program. Your applications are only dependent on what the software program is running. And once you reboot, upgrade the software program, that's the application that will run. So we had to delete the old programming, and we had to reinstall a new programming of self-worth, of self-love, of self-confidence, and owning her power. And that's when she started excelling. And the next promotion for her, which I just got to know, happened in record time in 1.5 years. And she had never got promoted at that speed in the company. So you have to really understand that the impact of these limiting beliefs is at every level. It causes dissonance in our personalities. It causes dissonance. We want something, we deserve something, but we are not able to achieve something. Whether it's at your finances, whether it's in your work career, or in your relationships. And health is, of course, something that I have talked to you about. This image is again something which I'm really grateful that I managed to find, because this is talking about that dissonance. It's almost like this person has a complete skewed perspective and a skewed sense of self, because outwardly they feel like they're the most deserving, but inwardly there is always a sense of lack coming from the limiting beliefs. Right? Now, just to give you another example, one of the patients that I worked with, stage 4 cancer, and this person started to believe from the word go that I have been diagnosed and it's a death sentence. No matter they're in one of the world's best healthcare setups, with best healthcare facilities, very, very prognostically, prognosis is the prediction of how well you'll respond to treatment, was quite good in his case. But the belief was, my father died at the age of 50, so will I. My father died of this condition, similar condition, at the age of 50, in his early 50s. I am going to be 50 next year. Obviously, I will die. It's my death sentence too. Now, if a person is coming with that kind of a story and that kind of a belief, no matter the world's best doctors cannot help this person. And that's when I was referred this patient. And they were like, yes, we are trying. The psychologists are trying. Everybody's trying, but we need to do something through hypnosis to change the underlying belief of this person. It took us many sessions. We were working. And something I'm going to talk to you about is what I taught him. And he started practicing that. Still alive and kicking. It's been 7 years, right? So what is important here to understand is that the way we, first of all, need to recognize that, yes, this is my limiting belief. See, we can live in denial all our lives. But today, if you're here and you're listening to this webinar, obviously there is a fire, there's a thirst in you to get beyond, to live a life of unlimited potential, whether it's in terms of your health, the health of your loved ones, or your relationships. But first point is to identify what are the limiting beliefs that I'm working from. because that is where your subconscious needs to be reprogrammed and re-alerted. Yeah, I can give you many incidents, many stories, like, you know, of patients, of clients who have thrived by reprogramming them. But the first thing is to realize, where is the dissonance in my life? I want something, but I'm not able to reach there. Because who's the worst enemy? I am my worst enemy. That's why it's called self-sabotage, right? It's not out there. So why do we need to reprogram the subconscious mind? Because we have to start living from new high vibrational beliefs by creating our reality consciously. See, the thing is, a lot of times our conscious mind is working to create wealth for us. We get salaries, we create a healthy homes, and we create healthy relationships. That's all consciously we are doing it. A lot of times we are not doing it with intention. Now, when we start reprogramming our subconscious mind, we sit with intention and we tackle resistance, because the biggest enemy of subconscious mind are fear and doubt. And that is what causes resistance in whichever area. Suppose, you know, sometimes we don't even apply for a job, because we feel internally that I don't think I satisfy the criteria of this job. Right? I don't think that, you know, I can even do it. So who's stopping us from applying for that job is ourselves. Who's double guessing ourselves, who's doubting, who's fearing? We are, right? So this is the reason why we need to reprogram our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind has all the information. And once a pattern is embedded, so this is called neuroplasticity, that our neural pathways are constantly changing and evolving. And through subconscious mind, when we are accessing our subconscious mind, when we are operating at that level, the neuroplasticity is very quick. We are able to generate new neural pathways. And why are they important? Suppose you want to learn piano. You right now don't know how to learn piano because you don't have the neural pathways for it. Slowly and steadily, you're building those neural pathways. So you start building neural pathways for success, for abundance, for health, for joy, through subconscious program, right? And we are slowly going to come to how we do that. But it's really important to understand that this is an autopilot mode. Once you understand your subconscious mind, you're on autopilot. It's like when you're driving your car. A lot of times when we are driving, we are not consciously aware of everything that we are doing with our steering wheel, with our gears. We are not consciously aware of, sometimes we are thinking something totally different, or we are talking to the co-passenger, but there is a part of us that is taking us to our destination. Suppose it's going from work to home, right? What takes over? Subconscious mind takes over, because it's the autopilot function you. So if you are rewiring your subconscious or unconscious with positive, very, very life affirming what you want to achieve. So for this CFO, once she started releasing the beliefs that she wasn't enough, and she started downloading positive, powerful, that I deserve it. Of course, I am worthy. I deserve all the abundance in life. Now she was an autopilot of manifestation. She was in autopilot mode where she was able to speak her mind effortlessly, own herself, own her power. And the next promotion was in 1.5 years, which she was not even planning. It just was on autopilot, right? So what happened to her? She owned her being. She became limitless. And not just that, she started a program in her MNC, which she started empowering the younger executives, because all of them were coming with fears, doubts, self-doubt. So this program was launched where people were mentored into this knowledge, into this understanding in the company itself. So what did she do? There was a ripple effect. There was a positive ripple effect. So this rewiring is not just for you, my friends. It's not just for me. When I rewired my subconscious mind, I was able to go out and help patients who were critically ill. Not that they weren't being helped already, but there was a missing component to the puzzle, right? There was a missing component of creating that for them in their subconscious, that they can heal. They don't have, it's not a death sentence. So this is the power that you start to become a messenger, and you create a ripple effect around you of abundance, joy, and success. And you become a master of manifestation. Now I want you to give the tools. I want you to give the tools of the ways to reprogram our unconscious. It'll be lovely if you can take a picture of the slide, because slowly and steadily in your own time, you can figure out what is the practice that I can do today to reboot and reprogram a subconscious mind. These are the techniques, and this is the 7 techniques that I have managed to help my patients and my clients with very powerfully. And these are the techniques that I teach. I do a lot of workshops, and we are also conducting another workshops. In this workshop, which we will be talking about in a moment's time, we are going to be teaching all these 7 aspects. But I also want you to understand that these are the things that you can start focusing right now in your life. Hypnosis, mindfulness, visualization, autosuggestion, emotionalizing, intentional repetition, and energy psychology. These are the way in which you can reprogram a subconscious mind, right? So just to talk to you very quickly about hypnosis. Hypnosis is a state of very focused attention, and where there is suspension of the peripheral awareness. Now, what does that mean? When you are doing something that you absolutely love, it could be watching a movie, your favorite movie, reading your favorite book, or doing an artwork that you perhaps love to do. You're so absorbed in that you don't realize where time is going. You could be spending hours in that. Time just kind of doesn't matter. It stands still, as they say. You're so focused that you don't even listen to somebody. They could be just asking you, do you need a cup of tea? You're obviously, you can hear, but it doesn't register. That is a state of hypnosis. It's a state of very focused attention. In therapy, we use it for implanting suggestions. It's the quickest way of accessing your subconscious mind because it bypasses your conscious mind, right? How can you do it on your own? It's through self-hypnosis. And that is something that you can learn to empower yourself. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is a technique that helps you to understand, see, how is subconscious receiving information? It is receiving through the conscious mind. Whatever the conscious mind is saying, the subconscious mind is absorbing. So mindfulness is an intervention that helps you to get it right at that 5 to 10% of your brain, at that conscious level. If you're going to keep saying to yourself, this is very difficult. I don't think I'll crack this. This is so difficult. This is way above my comfort zone. I can't do this. This is your conscious mind, right? And this is what the subconscious is receiving, because it receives information from the conscious mind. And that becomes your reality. Of course, I can't do this. This is way above my caliber. And that becomes your reality now, because subconscious mind is the house of habits and programs and memories. Mindfulness helps us to become aware that, no, don't say these words. You can do this. You have to try. You can. So mindfulness is what programs the conscious mind, and it informs in turn the subconscious mind. Visualization, again, a very, very powerful tool. In fact, I would say, take it to the next level. Imaginative visualization. We call it imagination, because visualization means we are using only the visual ability. We are multisensory beings. We smell, we hear, we sense, we can taste, we can feel. We have extrasensory perceptions. So visualization, or in common parlance, we call it imagination, really tells us that we can create this picture, what I'm exactly telling you. This is what you can visualize. This is a version of you in the matrix that doesn't yet exist, but through your visual abilities, you can create that by the power of your subconscious reprogramming. Now, again, a very important trivia of neuroscience. Our mind, our brains doesn't know the real from imagined. If I ask you to see a red apple and see that through fMRI studies, functional magnetic resonance imaging, the areas in your brain that lit up, and if I ask you to imagine the color red, the same areas in the brain lit up. This is a study done. Now, what does that goes to tell us? The brain does not know whether you're imagining or this is actually happening. That has huge impact on you creating the life that you want. Because if you start, and visualization, again, through auto-suggestions, through emotionalizing, through intentional repetition, through energy psychology, through subconscious mind, your brain will almost start believing that that is what your reality is. And that is what you start to create for yourself, right? And that's exactly what happens when we are working at this level. One of my patients, when I was working for blood cancer, one of the medication of chemotherapy causes very severe peripheral neuropathy. Peripheral neuropathy means you're not able to feel sensations in your hands and feet. They become numb. It's almost like when you get pins and needles, right? They become numb to the extent that you can't hold spoon and like anything, like even not a spoon or a fork. You can't walk because you don't have a sense of stability. It becomes very difficult. Your feet are numb. You have pins and needles. There is also pain. And this person was like he used to do paintings, on the street paintings in terms of what messages need to be written. So he was a council worker. The treatment was going well. He was responding really well. But then these were the side effects of chemotherapy that he was facing. Very debilitating. Of course, we all need to get healthy. But along with being healthy, we also need to get back to our life. We need to earn our living. He could not just get well and sit at home. He had to get back to work. He had to provide for himself and his family. And we started working by reprogramming and speaking to the intelligence of the body. Now, that's again another important thing I want you to understand, that subconscious mind influences our autonomic nervous system. What is autonomic nervous system? Our heart beats by itself. Our kidneys digest. We are not doing anything. I can only pick up this with my finger. I can't go inside and make my kidneys filter or my stomach digest. That is all autonomic nervous system. Autonomy means happening by itself, right? Involuntary. Now, all of these processes are being governed by our subconscious mind. So we started speaking to the subconscious mind, and by telling the body's inherent intelligence that yes, now it can heal, the smaller peripheral nerves can start to regenerate, that it's okay, the treatment is over, we are reducing the side effects. We started making him visualize he's going back, holding the heavy equipments. And it took us a few sessions. He learned self-hypnosis. He continued to do that work in his own time. And within 6 months, he was back at work. And this was a person who had been over a year since his treatment. He was in remission. Remission means the cancer was on hold. Things were looking good. He was over his chemo and radio, and he was in remission, but he was still not able to go back to work. And it took us, I think it took us less than 6 months. But he was definitely back at work full time in 6 months. Now, this is a huge, huge shift that's happening for people when they are starting to work with the intelligence of the body, visualizing, reprogramming, and trusting that they can do this. And that's exactly what we can all do. I want you to all ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can really, really start integrating in my life today? What is one thing I can start doing properly? Emotionalizing is feeling the emotions. How can I feel those positive emotions? Emotion, energy in motion. So what is this that I want to become? Okay, I want that amazing promotion in my life or that job. Who will I become in the process? What is the emotion that I want? What is it in my life that will get impacted? This is the way you start reprogramming, through visualization, through imagination, and through certain aspects of energy psychology. Of course, we will be going in details in the workshop, but that doesn't mean you can't already start this or you cannot start it on your own. The workshop that we are going to be doing, going into the details of a lot of these aspects that we have discussed today, is a 3-day workshop on these days, 18th, 20th, and 25th. It'll be 1.5 hour sessions, and there will also be a follow-up. Now, I've been doing a lot of workshops last year. And what we have realized is that a follow-up session really helps with integration. So even though we have 3 days to the workshop, the follow-up session will be typically 10 to 15 days after the workshop, because it gives you time to practice, to assimilate. So much you will learn in these 3 days that you need to eventually start putting it into practice. Once you have got that time, we regroup for a follow-up to address your challenges, your questions, and queries, right? Now, who should attend this workshop? if this talk has made you feel that, you know what, I really want to learn all of this and live to a life of my highest potential and then some more. Why did I say some more and then some more? Because sometimes we ourselves don't know what is our highest potential. We come from very, very programmed lives and programmed beliefs, and we cannot really go beyond that. And there's a saying that goes like, you know, the divine or the universe knows a lot more than what we do. I couldn't have imagined 10 years back that I could be talking about and doing work in mind-body medicine, doing this work. All that I wanted to do is I just wanted to explore subconscious mind, right? I did not know I had this potential to be offering this internationally that I've been doing. So sometimes even we don't know what we want, but once we are open and eager to learn and undo our old patterns, beliefs, and perceptions that are holding us back, as they say, the world becomes our oyster, literally so, right? So if you're, and this is something fantastic to give to your family members, you know, if you have younger siblings, if you have children, anyone above the age of 18, they will be very, very powerfully benefited from this, right? The aims that if I can just request everybody to mute themselves, please, and we will be taking questions. But just let me complete, and then be very happy to answer all your queries. All of the 7 techniques that I talked about, the tools of reprogramming the subconscious mind, we will be going into details of that. You will learn self-hypnosis. You will understand all of these. And energy psychology is a very vast area, lots of tools. EFT is one of the tools of energy psychology, which I teach, emotional freedom technique, EFT, in a different workshop. In this workshop, we are going to be focusing on something which is called neuro-linguistic programming. We have NLP techniques. So we'll be understanding that, right? So all of the 7 tools we'll be going a lot more in detail with. And it's going to be based, as I said, 3 days workshops. There'll be 3 modules. In the first module, we'll be talking more about the hypnosis, learning hypnosis, and you'll be experiencing a session of hypnosis where I will be implanting the suggestions of successfully doing self-hypnosis on your own. So this was a very integral part of all my sessions with the patients as well. So this is something that you're going to be learning. Obviously, in-depth understanding of self-hypnosis will be the benefit. Module 2 is going to be all about auto-suggestions, power of imagination, creative visualization, you know, power of words. What are the, you know, they say when you spell something, you create a spell. That means you're actually creating a spell of things to manifest for you. We understand a lot of that, right? You must have heard of the thing called manifestation, right? Manifestation is, again, something not woo-woo at all. The moment you reprogram your subconscious mind for your highest good, you start manifesting. You become a magnet for manifestation. And it's not something that is only for books, in books that you read. It's for yourself, right? So again, this is something that you will learn. Module 3 is going to be mindfulness for the conscious mind. And then we talk about emotionalizing and NLP techniques. So this is a 3-module workshop, plus there'll be a lot more. Follow-up session also, I'm sure there'll be something that you will learn. So we will be talking about energy psychology, quantum field, and quantum physics, and how that benefits our creative process in creating that life that we wish to, the blueprint of the life that we want to live. Now, the requirements from our participants would be to really be open and committed to learn, because unless it's almost like we are unlearning and then we are learning some. We are unlearning and we are learning some, because we are releasing a lot of. So if you'd be interested in this, I'd be very, very happy to welcome you on the workshop and go into the depths of it. But if this is something you can't do at this point, though, I'm really hoping that we are going to take only 10 participants for the workshop, because it is going to be a very intimate group where everybody is going to help in everybody's growth. But even you have these 7 tools with you. You can pick up for yourself, what is it that I want to work with today? And you can go and research them deeper, right? So if you want to, you're very welcome to join the workshop where we will be doing collectively and learning in depth. So with that, I'll be very happy to hand it back to Ashish, and he can take us through other details. And if there are any questions, I'm very happy to take them at this stage, but we will be going also into Q&A after the work after this 20 minutes later on. But if anybody has any, small questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. I agree with that. I think Dr. Nupur had us spellbound in the last about 50 odd minutes. Excellent presentation, Dr. Nupur. Anybody would like to share any quick comment or question, we'll be happy to take. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you very much. I'll otherwise move on and share with you some details. Thank you, Nagananda.
Ashish Vaibhav raised his hand.
Yes.
Maybe we can. You'll have to unmute yourself. And
yeah, very good evening, ma'am, and it was an excellent presentation. And,
thank you.
So much of information, and just curious to know, like you explained the process, the apple, if we see outside, in the brain also the same part of the brain is lit, and even if we imagine the same part of the brain is lit. So that was a great process and to understand. But going step forward, how when you believe on something which again your certain part of your brain will be lit, how it comes in the physical world? Do you have any explanation on that?
So when you're believing something, you believe it into your reality.
Okay.
Right? Now,
okay.
The reason the color was seen is because we have some visual cortex regions in the brain. That's why the visual cortex was. But that is just a scientific research that is telling us about this. Now, if you believe that, the belief that we may have is sometimes that everything is very difficult for me in life. I don't get anything easily. Suppose that is your belief.
Yeah.
Now, the validation for that is if you become very scientifically inquisitive, you'll notice that you will start encountering difficulties. You'll start encountering challenges. You'll start feeling that, yes, I attract more challenges in my life rather than easy situations. So your life becomes a reflection of this reality, right? That's what happens. On the contrary, and this actually happened in our previous workshop, I was conducting a workshop of inner child healing, and we started working on affirmations, and we had 3 doctors on that workshop. And all 3 of them believe that it's very difficult in our clinical setup. We have to struggle with the management. It's very hard. And we started reprogramming the subconscious mind and start saying, no, I attract help. I get wind assisted. My work gets wind assisted. I attract help from all quarters. And we did a follow-up after 1 month. And they were like, we were amazed. The colleagues who we were least expecting help from, they turned around and they started helping us. I'm from the corners of my life where I did not even think I'll ever get any assistance in my life. I started getting assistance. So when you change your programming, that shift happens. So that is the validation that, you know what, that's exactly what I'm manifesting by changing my belief, right? So this is what happens. Also, to answer your question, Vaibhav, a lot of sports psychology science research is happening where people are noticing that, in fact, there was a study I think in Harvard itself that was done, that a group of people were actually holding on to and practicing increasing the muscular strength. And the second group, that was a control group, was imagining doing the exercise. And after an X amount of time, when they studied the muscle strength, both the groups had a very equal increase. That group which imagined and that group which actually did it. So their muscle strength was actually the same for both. Right? So
that's a big
the
one.
Power, and there is a lot of research in this, and I'll be going through a lot of this stuff also in the workshop. But just to tell you, externally, whatever can be measured is always measured in research. Yeah, but experiences cannot be measured because they are so subjective to us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaibhav, for that question. And friends, we will now move on to the next section of the workshop. Stay till the end of the session because we will be sharing some free resources that will help you practice some of the things that Dr. Nupur talked about today. And the rest of the session is for those who are committed to take their life to the next level. So stay on only if you're committed to take your life to the next level, else you can go on and do what you were doing before this session. So friends, if you want better health, if you want promotion in 2023, if you want more happiness and better relationships, more money, what is it that you need to do differently? And let us look at the wisdom which comes to us from Albert Einstein, wherein he says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if in 2023, we keep doing the same things which we did in 2022, we will get the same results that we got in 2022. Conversely, if we want different results in 2023, we need to do something differently. And what is that? And again, let us lean on the wisdom from Warren Buffett, wherein he says that the best investment a person can make is investment in learning, investment in ourselves, because the more we invest in learning, the more we earn. And friends, investing in learning, changing the level of your consciousness is the best way to take your life forward in 2023. This is what I was referring to when we acquire the knowledge, that helps us move from where we are to where we want to go. Then the taking actions become easier, our thoughts, actions, everything gets aligned. And the investment that we are talking about is twofold: investment of time and investment of money. Investment of time, Dr. Nupur has already talked about. There are 3 sessions over 3 days, 18, 20, this is 18, 20th and 25th, and one bonus session, which the date will be announced basis your practice and the help that you need. So total investment of 6 hours, and the fees that is required is very, very nominal. For a single session, in case you want to drop in for a single session, it is less than 7 rupees a day. Look at 2023, 365 days. Just by investing 2499 rupees, you can come in for the first session and check out whether this program is the right thing for you or not. In case you want to dive in and sign up for the 3 sessions plus 1 bonus session program, it is only 4,999 rupees, which translates into less than 14 rupees a day for 2023. And in case you would like to avail of 1:1 coaching session, then the price is a very reasonable 7,999 rupees. Just to share with you, the charges for Dr. Nupur's coaching session are 100 pounds, so which is roughly about 10,000 rupees. So by paying 7,999 rupees, you not only get 1 coaching session, but 3 sessions and 1 bonus session. So friends, that's the offer that we have for you. You can enroll for this program, which starts on 18th of January by doing Google Pay or Paytm to Ruchi. The numbers are on your screen. You can take a screenshot of this. And once you remit the fees, please let us know in the chat so that we can welcome you to the program. All these sessions are Zoom live sessions. These are not pre-recorded sessions. And that is the reason the completion rate of all mindful living programs is over 90%, because this is a closed group. We make accountability partners. We remain in touch with you and ensure that you come for the programs and complete the programs. This is a question we often get because a lot of our participants are busy, successful executives. What if I am traveling or if I miss attending a session? Friends, the sessions are recorded and this recording is shared in the group after every session. So whether you have attended the session and want to revisit the learning or you missed attending the session, both ways the recording is shared in the group and it is available for your viewing. When will the next workshop be? This one is after a year. And we have just finished making the calendar with Dr. Nupur for 2023. We don't have another one in this year. So the time is now or never. I don't know, at least not in 23, we are repeating this workshop. So maybe 24. So that's up to you. How urgent is your sense of well-being for yourself and your family? And we completely understand that you may have signed up for the programs in the past that didn't work for you. That is why all mindful living programs come with 100% money back guarantee. This is going on record, my friend. No questions asked. If you think this doesn't work for you, just come back and we will refund your money 100%. I'll just request Dr. Nupur to share the benefits of the content and the benefits of the modules once again for the benefit of everybody.
Sure, Ashish, I'd love to do that. I
Sorry.
have also shared,
Yeah.
I think somebody needs to just mute themselves. I can hear an echo. Yeah. I have also shared in the chat a study, an article actually by Dr. David R. Hamilton, who is a PhD pharmacology. And he is again into mind-body medicine. He talks about how Olympic athletes, what Vaibhav asked us, everything about performance through visualization, enhancement of performance by visualization. And so that's a link which I quickly just researched while Ashish was sharing with us. And I've shared it in chat. So please copy that link, and in your leisure, you can read it. Module 1 is about everything about hypnosis. Hypnosis is a very misunderstood tool. Hypnosis is a life-altering tool. It has been in my work. It has been for the people I have had the privilege of working with. We have to differentiate it from stage hypnosis. It has got a very bad press. People think you lose control when you're doing hypnosis. It's not like that. In fact, if anything, you gain the kind of control. You gain the mastery over your life. Hypnosis needs to be, my friends, only done with somebody who is clinically trained, especially if they even have a degree in psychology, psychiatry, or medicine. I would highly recommend, please do not go to anybody who is a three-month or a 6-month trained person if they don't have a background, because it is very tricky. It is something that you have a very powerful tool in the hands of somebody who's not that trained. That is when you're doing sessions with somebody one-to-one, with an expert. But there is a part of hypnosis that we can learn and implement on ourselves, which is self-hypnosis, which is again very powerful. And this is in module 1, I'm going to be making you self-sufficiency. Once you have self-hypnosis as a tool, I'll just give you a very quick example, because I've worked a lot of with patients of cancer. Once they learn self-hypnosis and when they go into remission, a patient came to me and said, I actually now I'm doing self-hypnosis when I'm sitting in dialysis or when I'm going to my dentist. So they learned it for something very different, which was their cancer chemotherapy side effects or their management of pain. Pain management is again something we use highly these techniques for. But now, having learned this tool, he was using it at the dental office, in the dental chair, and also when he was doing dialysis. So these are very transferable skills. You learn them once, you use them in multiple aspects of your life, whether it's exam anxiety, whatever. So this is the intention. Ashish, can you move to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
Of the first module. Second module will be the power of autosuggestion. How do you change your verbiage? I don't think this is for me. I am not good enough. I cannot make it to that level. I cannot become at the level of my boss. Or as if you're a homemaker, I am fed up of my life. My life is so challenging. Nobody appreciates me. Now, these are the kind of messages you are giving to yourself constantly. I don't value myself. These are auto-suggestions. Auto-suggestions are hypnotic in themselves because they are creating a subconscious reality. We have to understand how do we change that and create more powerful words, auto-suggestions for ourselves, right? Then we understand what is the process of creative visualization. Visualization is not as simple as it sounds. There is a technique to it, but it's a very simple technique. There are certain key aspects. And once you understand this part, then you start manifesting at the speed of light what you wish to. And that is what module 2 is about. And module 3 is about understanding the mindfulness. How do I change my conscious? Where am I being my worst enemy? If I keep saying my knee pain, my knee pain, my knee pain, that means I'm owning my pain. My bank balance is low. It's been low for the last 5 years. Everything that you are saying is becoming a reality. And through mindfulness, we change that conscious conversations and prevent further escalation of our problems. Emotions. How can we be in a high vibe emotion? Because we understand here the power of vibration frequencies and how our emotions are. See, if there is one catalyst, if you have studied science, we say that to create an experiment, we need a catalyst in chemical lab. A catalyst is what fires that thing. Emotions are the catalyst. Without the catalysts, my friend, nothing brings about. So emotions are that catalyst. How do we harness our emotions? How do we create a high vibe emotion and manifest? And then NLP techniques like the screen technique is there. Then entering a past memory, changing it, creating a new perception. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. It's a lot of aspects, right? So that is something that we'll be doing. So these are the 3 modules, very action-packed. A lot will be in them. No, we are not doing TLT here. Then I'm not even doing EFT because EFT needs we have a full workshop on EFT. But yes, we will be teaching some NLP. And the benefits are right here in front of you, as we have discussed. Above everything, my intention will be to tell us and experience the quantum energy, quantum field, that what we all don't have to, we can create our dreams and we can create what we wish to in our life, because there's a quantum field that already has. And this is not, again, something woo-woo. Through quantum physics, we know what quantum field is and how it can contribute towards growth, right? It's almost like when I was talking to my patients, I was telling them there is a version of you which is disease-free. We just need to allow that version and meet it with the right frame of mind, with the right energy and the right emotions, right? So that version. So one of my teachers is Anita Murjani, and she has written a book called Dying to Be Me. And in that book, she talks about how she got cured of stage 4 cancer, complete remission, and she had a near-death experience. And she brings back a lot of knowledge of quantum field. And then also the works of Dr. Joe Dispenza. So this workshop is going to be informed by a lot of pioneers and cutting-edge scientists, Dr. Bruce Lipton and many more, that I have had the privilege of getting trained with. So it'll be my best effort in this workshop.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nupur. I really appreciate that. And moving on, these are some just details of the dates for you to make a note of. The timing of the session has been kept to suit most of the working professionals who get back home around that time. So you can do this after your working hours. Sharing the details of the fees once again for your reference. You can take a screenshot of this and let us know once you remit the fees so that we can welcome you. Thank you, Manohar. Thank you for joining, and we really appreciate your signing in for the program. Friends, these are the details. And one thing I would like to share with you, one unique advantage of doing programs with mindful living is that you become a part of the mindful living community. And our trainers like Dr. Nupur Agarwal is also part of this community. So it is not that you have done the session and you never see the trainer again, and trainer also teaches something and goes away and never sees the participants again. Here you are part of the same living, breathing community, and you have 24/7 access to the trainer. And you also get to hear from the wisdom of other world-class speakers whom we invite every weekend. The link to the mindful living community has already been shared in the chat. We will be sharing the link once again. So please join this community. The membership to the community is complimentary. And here you can speak in touch with these world-class speakers, including Dr. Nupur, which really helps you in deepening your practice and ensuring that the benefits happen. Our intention also is not to do the program and run away, but to be here for you 365 days so that you can learn and apply and share your learning so that the benefit of, of what you're learning and applying and benefiting from gets shared with everybody. As Dr. Nupur mentioned, we take only very small number of participants into the workshop. This is a fairly intense workshop where there's a lot to learn and apply. So we want to work with only few people, only 10 people. One Manohar has already joined. So 9 slots remain. So please take your decision at the earliest to join the workshop. And just sharing these details. In case somebody wants to do a bank transfer, these are the details of the bank account. And here are the resources. We will also, you can take a screenshot of this, or we will also be sharing this over an email and WhatsApp with you, over an email actually, so that you can, these links can be easily accessible to you. So friends, we will stop here for any questions or comments that you may have. Anything you would like? Mahesh?
Yes. Thank you, Ashish. I think, and thank you, Dr. Nupur. And this is something like quite some time I've been thinking about it. And courtesy mindful living community has created such an environment and a platform, to connect to people like Dr. Nupur and so many, experienced and researched stalwarts. And what I wanted to understand is, after the 3 sessions and the bonus session, in one-to-one coaching, what is that we try to address? Is it, do we expect that in these 3 sessions, any blockages or any limits in us, will it be clearing it off, or kind of the one-to-one session will help us to, accelerate, overcome such a limit?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mahesh, first of all, for your lovely words. It's a privilege for all of us to, share this information through mindful living. So, and thanks to you for taking the time out as well. The one-to-one session is actually for us if we feel that we want, we want to understand specifically why I'm struggling with this, and I want a session for that. So suppose you want a typical session, and in this workshop, I'll be focusing a lot on hypnosis, of going into the subconscious. So if you want an individual one-to-one session of hypnosis with me, then that's something. By the way, it can be completely done online. Since pandemic, all my sessions have moved to online. So I've been doing it online. So don't think you can't do a session of hypnosis. Very safe. And you're going to be in hands of somebody who's got that experience. So, if you want that, then we will be doing specifically hypnosis for you, for that challenge that we need more support and more, sometimes things are very deeply entrenched, like especially if somebody has got a failure mindset, or they have got a trauma history of trauma, abuse, or there can be so many other aspects, Mr. Mahesh. If you want specific session, that will be a session done for you, and it will be recorded for you to play back again and again for yourself, right? So that again will be something that you will get from that one-to-one. Secondly, a lot of times in a group setting, even though we make it a very safe space and a very sacred space, a lot of times we can't express everything freely because we feel this is very private and this is very personal. And I wouldn't want to discuss it because not that it's not a safe group, but because I am very hesitant, right? So in that case also, a one-to-one session can help you. And it's a mentoring and a coaching session, literally. And but I will be doing more of hypnosis because, I realize that that is really something that takes things 10x, 20x, the speed of change much more, and you'll get that recording. So that's the intention of one-to-one.
And one more important thing which I wanted, this is a follow-up. Often, we want to go some way. We want to, take our life to a direction. And we do not know what are the actually limits. If I know what is that limiting, probably that is something we can work on. But we need to first surface those limits. What is that stopping me? Does it also, would we be able to understand what is that limiting in?
That's a very beautiful question. Thank you for asking that. Yes. Before the workshop, you will receive a questionnaire that will be, we do something called pre-workshop work, prep. It's called the prep work. In that, you will receive a very, very exhaustive questionnaire, which will help you to understand yourself better and recognize what is my limiting belief that I'm coming from. So that will be something that will be already established. And we will be constantly discussing that also in the module 1. So before we talk about the self-hypnosis technique, I'm going to be talking about limiting beliefs. And we are going to then start using the hypnotic script for ourselves to release that self-limiting belief that we have. But we will spend a good half an hour, because that's the crux of the workshop. What is my limiting belief? What is it that I'm operating from, and how do I release it? So you will get the prep questionnaire that will help you, which is very exhaustive, which I will give at least 48 to 36 hours before, not more than that, actually, 3 days before the workshop commences, so that you have time to think, answer it, and get answers yourself, right? So it will be done by you as well as by us in the first module.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nupur. And
thank you, Mr. Mahesh.
Yeah, Ashish, I'm in. So I need to check the formalities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mahesh. Welcome you to the program. And very beautiful questions. I think those are what does a coaching session involve is really a very popular question. So thank you for asking that. That will also clarify this to many people who are going to watch the recording later and going to join us. So thank you for that. Yes, Deepak, please go on.
Yeah, I have a question. So I think I'm also in. Okay, I'll do
Thank you, Deepak. Welcome.
Just wanted to ask Dr. Nupur, does she have any experience of working with people who are preparing for triathlon or these kind of endurance sports, and how hypnosis and all these can help? I'm sure it does, but do you have a personal experience on this?
Yes, I have. In fact, I do work a lot with young athletes. And in fact, one of my patients was the coach of the water polo team. And everything that he learned, he actually then taught further on to his team. So yes, I do have experience and with athletes. In fact, the article that I just shared, Mr. Deepak, right now by Dr. David R. Hamilton also has some information. But yes, I absolutely have experience with sports performance.
Okay. Anything specific for endurance sports? Like people, when you think of it, like I cannot do 42 kilometers, it's too long, that's what comes to everyone's mind. But a lot of people do it. And how does it, because I would also like to do a, long 42 kilometer marathon.
Yes, absolutely. So it is about, it's as you must know that it's for athletes and for Olympians and for our, it's all in the mind. They say that once you have conquered that in the mind, then and when you believe that, then it's happening. So we have to retrain our mind. Then we have to also believe that it's possible, and also get into a zone where you can actually rehearse achieving what you wish to achieve. Mental rehearsals are very powerful with sports and with achieving our targets. And mental rehearsals can really enhance. So when we are imagining, visualizing, believing, and literally emotionalizing, and we are saying to ourselves that, understanding what is holding me back from doing that belief, like Roger Bannister, when he was breaking the 1 mile rule, before Roger Bannister, nobody had run a mile in that time, but he broke that 1 mile rule. And that's what happened. That's what brought people in sports to understand it was his mind. He did not believe the naysayers. He did not believe that it's not possible, but he just started to focus and was only focusing on his own performance and how he can outdo. So it's basically filtering out a lot of negative beliefs and limiting beliefs, and then creating that literally blueprint in yourself through positive mental rehearsal, and then imagining it to the point of creating that. So do go through that article that I've posted in the chat. That will also give you some idea. But obviously, if something like this interests you, then I would say that, start working on your subconscious mind, because that is what's creating the change for you at the conscious mind. You break those barriers slowly and steadily. So yes, I would be very, very pro, and we can take it up as a challenge, and let's trust, not hope, but trust that we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that question.
Beautiful, Deepak, and best wishes for your marathon. I'm sure you will complete it.
Yeah, I'm doing the half at Mumbai next Sunday.
Okay,
And
okay.
next year I want to do the full.
Excellent.
So
Brilliant.
Very
thank
nice.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, friends. I didn't realize it's almost 6:30. One last question or comment, and we'll be happy to close the session. All right. Dr. Nupur, anything you would like to share before we draw the session to a close?
Nothing much, but just want to thank everybody for staying on till the end and for engaging and for the lovely questions that we had. I just want to share one thing, that the sessions will be recorded and you'll receive the recording, but you will also receive a lot of recorded guided visualization meditations that I will be posting in the group in between the modules, or between module 2 and module 3, and between module 3 and the follow-up. As Nagananda is here from our previous workshop, the content never ceases to come in the WhatsApp group. We keep sharing a lot of information. So it's not just about these 3 sessions, but there'll be a lot of other stuff that will be shared, along with a lot of research and the videos of people who will help you. Like if Mr. Deepak wants to, to how he can listen to and be focused on, energy flows where attention goes. So we were going to be creating a very immersive experience so that we are all channeling energies for creation. Yeah, so that's my intention.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nupur. And friends, this is a very, very powerful program coming right at the start of 2023. Our mind is our most powerful resource we have. Just think of it. What is it in your life that you have achieved without involving your mind? Everything in our life, whether it is career or it is relationships, happiness, health, everything is regulated by our mind. And that mind comprises of conscious mind and subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is about 90 to 95%. So that is the power of subconscious mind. We are not even fully utilizing our conscious mind. Forget about utilizing the subconscious mind. And the techniques that Dr. Nupur is going to be sharing in this workshop are scientifically tested, very powerful. And she has been using these on her patients, on her clients for many, many years now. So you can learn the same techniques and take your life to a new level in 2023. Wishing you superlative success in 2023. Thank you for taking your time and joining us. Have a wonderful weekend ahead and a wonderful year ahead. God bless you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ashish, so much. Thank you.
Thank you.